Welcome, dear listeners. I'm Jonathan Carlin.
And I'm Benjamin Carlin.
And we invite you to join us through the Griffin door, your one-way ticket to the enchanting world of Harry Potter. So grab your wands and dust off your broomsticks and join us as we unlock the riddles inside Goblet of Fire, Chapter 19, The Hungarian Horntail, live in Nashville! Woo! Woo! Our biggest show on the Southeast.
This is exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting.
This is exciting. Oh man, you guys! I don't even know if it's because like before we were standing and now we're seated, but like I felt the noise just now. That was phenomenal. Hit me like a wave. Okay, so Jay, as per always, we got to talk about the chapter art, which for once we can actually show you guys.
Show you the chapter art.
For the Hungarian Horntail, and you guys can also see just how absolutely marked up these pages are.
I know, yeah,
positively dripping in ink. It's at some point in time, it's almost like, well, which words are we excluding?
I know, yeah. What didn't we talk about?
To talk about, yeah. But the chapter art, I think, is it's kind of fascinating because it depicts all four of our dragons. We can see for scale that these are all the dragon tamers. Kind of giving us a sense of just how big these guys actually are.
They're huge.
I've got to say that when I was looking at it at first, I was like, are all four of them in a wooden box?
They are, yeah, Ben.
And I was like, well, that seems like not the best way to transport dragons, you know, because of the wood. Because of the fire.
And the fire.
However, once you get into the chapter, we will discover that they are, in fact, in wooden crates.
All four, no. One crate.
One crate.
One. This is a good picture.
It is an
all
accurate,
four, one crate.
An accurate depiction, if not an inadvisable decision.
Yes.
On the whole.
They're like wondering why they had problems.
Yes.
And like they didn't like this. I don't get it.
They were upset about the way that they were transported, and it's like that adds up.
That does add up. You put them in a small wooden box.
Although I have to tell you that back in the day, my first ever job, I worked at a Petland store, and I did the fish and reptile department. And when we received snakes, they would arrive in these like cotton mesh bags, and they would just all be in the bag.
Right.
And
just
so
like a bag of snakes?
It was like a literal bag of snakes. And so, it's like you go to like kind of crack that thing open, and it was like, well, that's a bag of snakes.
What's in here, I wonder? Oh,
good,
my God.
Good. Yeah.
This is a bag of nightmares.
The good news is that every day of work after that has only gone up.
Exactly.
I have peaked. Worst possible day of work.
There you go. Yeah.
Bag of snakes.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah. Did you have any commentary about here of the chapter art?
I mean, I just think it's like one of those where like when you look at it the first time I was like, oh, okay, that's how big the dragons are. Then you don't like see the people at the bottom and you're like, oh my God, they're massive.
These guys
are
big.
Like this is one where like I feel like the Horntail in the movie does look very good, but I don't think is the right size. Like it needs to be way bigger.
So for TV show purposes, in case anybody's listening, take the dragon, double it,
maybe even like triple it. Yeah, big dragon.
A 300% increase.
Like when I thought Harry was fighting the Horntail, like when I was a kid before the movies were out, when I pictured him fighting the Horntail, it was like Smaug sized.
Jay, if it's 3 times bigger, Harry loses.
What? Nah, dude, he's got a wooden firebolt. He's fine. He's good, dude.
He's going to be totally fine. This is just a fun game that I sort of thought was trying to label each of them.
Okay, yeah. I feel like I could tell which one's the Horntail.
Okay, do you think it's the leftmost one?
The leftmost one, yeah.
It's kind of like alligator/crocodile looking, but like with horns on its head. It's almost got like some like alligator Loki vibes.
It does.
The one on the bottom that's blowing like the steam out of its nose, I'm assuming that's the short snout.
Short snout. He's got the real like, yeah. He's got the short snout.
Yeah. Then I've got the fireball as top right.
Top right. You think that's that one?
Yep. And then just basically by
default,
the Welsh green has to be the one sort of in the middle.
Yeah, it doesn't get much attention, just sort of back there.
Interestingly, the Welsh green is actually like posing for the photo. It's got like its arms out around the Horntail and the fireball. He's like, get in here, buddies. Selfie time.
Selfie time, indeed.
The only other piece of commentary I have about the artwork and the chapter title here is that so often I feel like the chapter art will go out of its way to be like super non-spoilery, sometimes like at the expense of not being totally relevant.
Yeah.
You know, to like what is being depicted. And this time I actually think that it is like, it is spoilery and not super relevant.
I agree.
You know, because when you get to the next chapter, which is titled The First Task, and it's like, oh, I wonder which one Harry's gonna get.
Yeah. It's like, this chapter should like maybe be called like The Dragons.
The Dragons.
Yeah, because then you'd be like, okay, we're going to learn about the dragons. That's what's in the picture. We don't necessarily know which one Harry's going to get, even though Charlie basically says it. But when you call it the Hungarian Horntail and 3 other dragons, it's like, yeah, Harry's definitely going to get that one.
Yeah. That's the one he's up against. So, anyway, but either way, I do actually quite love this. I would say that this is like a more top tier chapter art, if nothing else. I wish it was the next chapter.
I agree. Yeah, also true.
Right.
Yeah, when he actually fights him.
Do you think the idea there was just like we wanted one chapter to be the first task, one to be the unexpected task, one to be the second task, and then one to be the third task?
The naming convention is good, but then like the one where he actually fights the dragon is like a picture of him summoning a book. It's not even him summoning the firebolt.
What? Okay. Look
at it.
You're right.
Look at this.
We're going from a top tier. This is the next chapter art, guys.
It's terrible.
What is that?
I know. He's not like even this should at least be the firebolt, but it's not.
Here's the thing. All chapter art should be in contention for any of us here in this room to be like, I would get that tattooed on my person.
Yeah. I don't think anyone has ever gotten this one.
I don't think it's like people would be like, oh, what is that? Like, what's it mean? It's like, it's my favorite chapter.
But that chapter could easily be your favorite chapter.
It could be.
Right?
We are being deprived.
We are.
Of opportunity.
Don't like it. Don't like it. Anyway, what I do like though, you guys, last night we started a new tradition that I think we're gonna start keeping in the show.
Yeah.
Which is that we came across a meme on like the Instagram.
The internet.
The internet, you know, out there. You've heard of it. Where, and I don't know if it's like an old meme, we just came across it, but the joke is that you read the first sentence of any book and then add, and then the dragons arrived to that. And we were like, so you'd be like, Mr. and Mrs. Durs live number 4 Privet Drive. We're proud to say they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much. And then the dragons arrived. Which would just be like, that's such a great... it immediately makes it better. So we were like, okay, let's start doing... We don't have to do that just for the first line. We can do it for every chapter.
And we'll see how it holds up.
This chapter, pretty perfect for it.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
So fire at will. Do the honors.
All right, so... We begin. The prospect of talking face-to-face with Sirius was all that sustained Harry over the next fortnight. The only bright spot on a horizon that had never looked darker. And then the dragons arrived. It's like, yeah, that makes it darker.
And boy, do they.
And boy, do they arrive. Like, yeah, that's just canon in this case.
Yes.
That is what happens.
That is just what's next.
Yeah.
So then, we kind of we learn that Harry is kind of coming to terms. It says the shock of finding himself school champion had worn off slightly now, and the fear of what was facing him had started to sink in. Yeah,
that is like a different problem because I feel like immediately you would be like, wait, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. Like, oh, what happened? How did this happen? Like he's been so preoccupied with how it got in there. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do stuff.
Yes. Like, he's been up against all of like the reaction, the fallout, and not properly worried about like, what am I gonna do?
What is he gonna do? But that said, he doesn't do a whole lot to prepare anyway.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Though he does compare that the nerves for this being significantly greater than that of when he played Slytherin for the Quidditch Cup. And now it's like back when we were watching that chapter or reading that chapter, I was like, that's a big deal. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Now it's like by comparison, Quidditch just feels trivial.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like that big of a.
Ironically, he will just do Quidditch to beat the task, though.
He will.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love how it also says the first task was drawing steadily nearer. He felt as though it were crouching ahead of him like some horrific monster. I was like, it literally is. Yeah. That is exactly what the first task is.
An actual horrific monster.
Yes.
He was having a hard time to think about the future at all. And this sentence, there will be a couple of like wisdom drops in this particular chapter, but I think this one is one of those where it's like, it's easy to underestimate the luxury that is thinking about the future.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like if you're faced with the day-to-day challenge of like getting through the day, you're not thinking about the future.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where Harry's at right now.
That's where he's at right now. But then just the second half of that sentence, I feel like a lot of what happens in this book is that Harry is being like more and more isolated, like as the chosen one. And so the second half of it is he felt as though his whole life had been leading up to and would finish with the first task, which is like another way of saying like neither can live while the other survives. Like it is very like this is everything, because this is the way dragons, we kind of just made a video about this, but dragons will show up in the story in books 1, 4, and 7.
Yep.
And each of them kind of like represents where Harry is in the story.
Right.
And so like the Horntail in particular is like Voldemort.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So you've got Norbert just being like a freshly hatched dragon, representing Harry being brand new to the wizarding world, and then in Gringotts
Hagrid
Bank,
even bringing him there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Hagrid even brings him there.
Yeah.
And then in Deathly Hallows, obviously, we have the Ukrainian Iron Belly deep below, Gringotts Bank.
Yeah.
And it is literally breaking the chains and flying to freedom.
Right. It's like Harry's about to escape his destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yep. And then the Horntail represents danger.
Danger.
Imminent danger.
Big time, yes. His whole life been leading up to and would finish with the first task. Like, it's not just neither can live while the other survivors. Like, one must die at the hand of the other,
right?
Kind of situation. And it's like that is the relationship he has with Voldemort. Like, it will lead up to and possibly finish with that final thing. Like Voldemort will hunt him.
Yes.
He has no choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Dead on the money. And it's Voldemort's fault that he has to fight the dragon in the first place.
Yeah, it is Voldemort's fault that he has to fight the dragon in the first place.
Then I love this, that like Harry is kind of going through like everything that he's like worried about. It's like, performing an unknown piece of magic and dangerous magic in front of hundreds of people. The hundreds of people piece is very interesting because like Ron is so upset with Harry right now, specifically for attention seeking. And one of the things that Harry hates the most about this prospect is having to do it with an audience.
Yes.
It's like the idea of the attention is a huge part of the problem.
I know.
It just goes to show like how, oh man, he's so misunderstood.
Yes.
Classic
Extremely.
14-year-olds.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And then it's like the other thing is that like it's funny that is the problem because he's played Quidditch plenty of times in front of hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. No problem. But then he also says the sight of a friendly face would be something at the moment, which is just like such like a power of friendship sort of thing. Even in the last chapter, he was like, I think I could handle all of it if Ron was just my friend right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
What sucks though is that despite that, I feel like Harry, this whole chapter is going to be incredibly stubborn.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Hermione is literally hanging out with both of them, and both of them are telling Hermione, like, I miss them. And they still won't.
They still won't do it.
Like,
Yeah.
come on, boys.
Like, come on, get over yourselves.
Right.
But in the meantime, I'm gonna tell you guys, this is a big Hermione chapter. There. Yeah. They are. I mean, there's just so much love happening.
There
it's
is.
just all over the place.
It is.
Yeah. Because this is what happens when like Harry can only hang out with Hermione and she's just being super nice to him all the time, coming up with fun plans like dropping dung bombs to get people out of the common room at 1 a.m.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right.
Good stuff. But they said they hoped it wouldn't come to that. Filch would skin them alive, which are like, how would he even know? How would he even know?
That's true.
You know?
That's true. Yes. I mean, this was something I highlighted as well because I was like, this feels like hyperbole, but it also seems like Filch would love this.
Yes.
It's like if he caught him red-handed, he'd be like, "That's it. Where's my scissors?"
That's it. Yep. We're doing it. This is great. But then the other thing that happens is Rita Skeeter's article comes out, a highly colored, and I mean highly meaning like extremely highly colored life story of Harry, which takes up page 1, 2, 6, and 7. That's like most of the paper.
Yes. Like how many pages are in this thing?
I don't know, but that's an enormous story.
Yes.
Especially like if you see it like the way they write, not in straight lines, I don't
No, yeah, none whatsoever.
For some reason.
I think that the fact that it is I think that's a piece of trivia to remember that somebody's going to ask us in the future and we're going to be so upset about it.
I know.
Which pages did the highly colored life story of Harry Potter possess? And so the answer would be 1, 2, 6, and 7.
1, 2, 6, 7.
We're never going to remember that. We may remember 7 because in Harry Potter, when in doubt, it's 7. And when it's not 7, it's 13. And when it's not 13, it's 12. And when it's not 12, it's 11.
Yeah.
1 and 2 is 12.
Yeah, and
This
like
is a way
monkey
we
math,
can remember
yeah.
it. Okay.
That's
How
what
do we
Luke
get
calls
6 and
that.
7
If you
in
do
there?
1 + 2 = 12.
7 we already got. Okay, so now
Yeah.
we just have to remember 6.
Then we just got to remember 6. 6 and 7 is 13.
6 and 7 is 13.
There we go.
1, 2, 6, and 7. No,
No,
definitely
you're
not.
right. Yeah, I've already
I mean,
forgotten.
I'm 1,000% humoring, the concept that maybe this would work, but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
there's no hope whatsoever. Then we learn that it's kind of even worse because it's not just like the fact that Harry is getting the spotlight; it's that the other champions are being so overlooked.
Yes.
It says that the names of the Beauxbaton and Durmstrang champions are misspelled. Squashton's the last name of the article, and Cedric's name hadn't been mentioned at all.
I know. It's so bad. And also, like, I cannot believe that it says the Durmstrang champions misspelled. Like, Krum wasn't just the hero of the World Cup. Like, Victor Krum being a champion would be such massive news.
Yes.
This would be huge. This would be like if LeBron James won the NBA championship and then got selected to compete at some high school tournament.
Yeah.
You know? And be like, yeah, I'm sorry. Who was in there? What?
He's
but also
relevant.
Harry Potter.
But also Harry
Yeah.
Potter.
Yeah.
The actual Harry Potter.
Yeah.
What do you think would win the headline? A literal, actual Harry Potter or LeBron James?
I guess I have to go with Harry based on what's happening here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've fallen into the same trap.
Man.
The thing that kills me here is we know how proud of Cedric Amos Diggory is. And can you imagine like getting the letter and then seeing the Daily Prophet arrive in the mail and being so excited to go and show your coworkers, like, look, my boy, and then he's not even there.
He's not even there. Couldn't spare a single word for him.
Couldn't spare a single one.
spare it. Yeah.
That's a spare joke, guys.
It's a spare joke, yeah.
Too soon. Too soon.
That's what they
I
said.
could
in
feel it
Atlanta,
like
too.
wash over the
I know.
audience. So it's like,
They're like, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh man. Okay, so one of the things in the article though, Rita Skeeter just turned all of Harry's ers. He says that for basically every answer
Yes.
when she asks him. He's like and she just stretches those into whatever she wants. One of the things she says though is I know nothing will hurt me during the tournament because my parents are watching over me, which of course Harry didn't say, but does kind of come true in the graveyard.
that is very
Yes.
true. Yes, they
Yes.
do appear out of the wand. They are like
Protecting him.
Protecting him.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The detail that I highlighted was, yes, sometimes at night I still cry about them. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I was like, obviously Harry didn't actually say that, but also no shame, Harry.
No shame.
No shame.
Yeah,
It
nor
would
should
be
you be
okay
ashamed.
if this was true.
Yes. That's the thing is that like they're okay. So we'll get to this in a second. It also says Harry has at last found love at Hogwarts, but I was just like, yeah, that's pretty obvious if you ask me. Okay,
She's just batting 1,000,
batting
guys.
1,000 here so far. Yeah, that's obvious. I mean, Colin Creevy reported it, so what
Right.
else? Pretty good. She calls Hermione Granger a stunningly pretty Muggle-born girl. An attitude she is going to 180 on hard
Yes.
later in the book.
She will later refer to her as plain but ambitious.
Plain but ambitious. Yeah. But then, of course, all the Slytherins get a hold of this and start quoting it at him as he passes, making sneering comments like, want a hanky Potter in case you start crying. To which I'm like, okay, are the Slytherins aware that it's all just like fake news from Rita Skeeter here, or do they think it's true? Because I don't know which one's worse. Right? Like...
It's a fair question because they were even going to follow it up with, since when have you been one of the top students in the school, Potter? And I'm like, since when hasn't he?
I know.
Like, since he's arrived, Gryffindor has won the House Cup every year. He's won the Quidditch Cup. He defeated Quirrell and the Basilisk. Like, it's like
yeah.
guys, like,
Yeah.
his name came out of the goblet.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, so I think, I don't know what they're going for that here. But then, they're like making fun of him for crying about his dead parents. And I'm like, why do people like you?
that's the thing.
I know,
That's
like-
the thing. Is that like I struggle so hard to think that like the other people in the hallway are like, good one.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
that no one thinks that's funny.
No one thinks
no
that.
one thinks that's funny.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess so.
yeah.
I guess so.
No.
Yep.
But so Harry has just about had it, and so he's walking down the hallway and hears, "Hey, Harry!" And then Harry's just like, "That's it." And he's like, "Yeah, that's right. I've just been crying my eyes out over my dead mum. I'm just off to do a bit more." And then, classic Harry. This time it's Cho.
It's Cho.
Ah, don't you just hate it when you scream at your crush on accident?
I know. But you know what her response has been?
What?
They have so much in common.
They're cut from the same
They're
cloth.
cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. And then she's
Yeah.
like, "Good luck on Tuesday. I really hope you do well."
You know, I can't help but notice that she feels the need to come out after this article comes out because it says Harry has at last found love at Hogwarts, and she's like, "Oh no, I got to make a move. I got to go tell Harry about that quill."
Do you think that maybe yeah, it's like, do you think maybe she's like casting like a little spell from like across the way to like slice his bag open?
Oh my god. Yeah, because
Harry, your quill.
Harry does that to Cedric in the next chapter.
That's exactly why I said it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So Harry feels pretty stupid about this. However, I gotta say, I know you highlighted the same line here, where it says Harry was full of admiration. This is about Hermione, by the way. Harry was full of admiration for the way she was handling the situation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's Hermione's
secretly
like,
admiring her. You
right.
know?
Right.
Wow.
Yes. And also, it's sort of like maybe Hermione's sort of like, I don't hate this.
I don't hate it.
It's like this script that she's laid out, not so bad.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "Haha, Harry, wouldn't it be funny if it was true?"
Of course.
Of course.
But that Pansy Parkinson is making fun of Hermione for the newspaper, calling her stunningly pretty, which like sick burn, Pansy. But then also, I love that she is just gonna get wrecked with this opinion later when international Quidditch star Victor Krum asks Hermione to the Yule Ball.
It's so true.
I know.
It's so true.
Like, oh yeah.
And it just goes to show that I think Hermione's whole philosophy of just ignore it. She's like, I will rise above. She's like, I know who wins.
Just ignore it,
this
Harry.
conversation. Yeah.
That's her advice. Just ignore it.
Just biding my time.
Just remember that.
But
that
then
was her advice.
That if Harry's life couldn't get any worse, he has to go and do detention with Ron, and they're still not speaking. And Harry's kind of hoping that they'll make up, but sadly, they're forced to pickle rats' brains.
Forced to pickle rats' brains
in Snape's dungeon. Which trivia?
How many potions do you think need pickled rats' brains? 37. Okay, sure. I wrote down. So part of me is like, this is obviously a gross thing they have to do.
Yeah.
But part of me was like, is Snape like maybe trying to be like a little nice here? Like, yeah, I know Wormtail was a rat, so I'm gonna let you like pickle some rat brains today.
Right. Just
I thought you'd enjoy it.
Get it off your chest. It's a cathartic experiment.
It's a cathartic experiment.
Yeah.
And gross.
And gross.
And
also, we need a lot of them.
And
so
also
this is
we
going
need
to
to
take
do it.
2 hours.
Oh, they could always use magic.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Well, couldn't Filch just like... Filch is a poltergeist.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see here. Then Hermione once again is basically the only person who sees reason. She's completely furious with both Harry and Ron. Harry is adamant that he would talk to Ron again only if Ron admitted that Harry hadn't put his name in the Goblet of Fire and apologized for calling him a liar. And Harry's just like, I didn't start this. It's his problem. And Hermione's like, you miss him, and I know he misses you. And it's just like one of these instances where it's like pride is just getting in the way.
Pride is getting in the way. Miss him? I don't miss him. But this is a downright lie. And then you know what the next sentence is, Ben? Harry liked Hermione very much.
Very much.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. It's right there.
It's right there. I mean, to be fair, the next line is, there was much less laughter and a lot more hanging around in the library when Hermione was your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they're just
I'm just saying, it's there, Ben.
Yeah.
The whole sentence are there.
Harry liked Hermione very much.
He liked Hermione very much.
And then I stopped listening.
Yeah. And then I skipped the rest of the sentence.
Yeah.
Either way, Harry still hasn't mastered summoning charms, but he will.
Yep.
But while they're in the library, they notice that Victor Krum is there an awful lot too, and they cannot figure out why. Which is like, guys, like even if you like, he's one of the champions. What do you think? Like, his real intention is that he's trying to ask out Hermione.
Right.
But of course, like, they can't figure out why he's always there. And it's like, because he's a champion, dude.
I know.
He's like trying to, as far as you know, just trying to prepare for the first task.
And that's the thing. Harry, he's like, they wondered what he was up to. Was he? I mean, he's in the library. Was he studying? Was he trying to get things to help him through the first task?
Yeah.
It's like
what could he be doing here? Yeah, both.
Obviously, those things.
You're at school.
Oh man!
Then Hermione comes in because she can't stand Krum being there because it means giggling girls are there. And she says he's not even that good looking. Which earlier in the book or later in the book she's going to be like, oh, you only care about looks, and it's like, well, here you are. I thought that didn't matter. Hermione.
I thought that didn't matter. I think what she's really trying to do is just reassure Harry.
She's trying to reassure Harry
because like realistically, she does go on to date Krum.
Yeah.
and she's talking to Harry.
Yeah,
so it's like he's not even that good looking.
Right. Not even that. Look, don't worry. Yeah. Because you know what her advice to Harry later on is when Hermione asks him and Cho to meet her at the Three Broomsticks. And he's like, you know what? You should have said you really didn't want to. And you probably should have mentioned I wasn't very good looking.
You're right.
And look what she's doing here.
Right here.
He's not even very good looking, Harry.
If so facto.
Taking her own advice from the future.
We lean on it because we know it annoys you guys.
Yes.
Anyway.
We've got more.
We got more. We're not done yet. They wouldn't look twice at him if he couldn't do that wonky feint thing. And it's like, well, he is still a champion. Like he's still the best student at Durmstrang. Like by magical ability in academia.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. I also like that Hermione can't remember like wonky feint, or she can't remember Wronski feint. Like this is the girl who memorizes entire books but can't remember this one Quidditch term she's seen him do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't buy it.
I don't know. I like to think I can remember some things, but my trivia game is terrible.
Okay. That's fair.
All right, now we got some sage wisdom inbound. It's a strange thing, but when you're dreading something and would give anything to slow down time, it has a disobliging habit of speeding up.
Such truth.
Man, we've all been there.
I know.
It goes on to say that Harry's feelings of barely controlled panic was with him wherever he went. Yeah. Relatable.
I know. It's like I'm reading. It's like I'm looking in the mirror.
I know.
God. No, not really. But then we learned that hold on, let me read the front half of this sentence here. On the Saturday before the first test, all students in the third year and above were permitted to visit the village of Hogsmeade. And I think this is ridiculous. Like when you start thinking about the last book, it gets a little ridiculous because if you remember, last year they wouldn't let Harry visit the village without his permission slip signed. But now they're forcing him to compete in a tournament he didn't want to enter.
It's true.
I know. They're like, do you need a permission slip from your parent to compete in this deadly tournament? No. Also, Harry didn't give us anything for Hogsmeade yet, so you can't go.
Well, I mean, the more hilarious thing is that Sirius, as far as the wizarding world is concerned, is still at large. And
I know.
Harry's permission slip is signed by him.
By Sirius.
Yeah.
The
other thing I think is kind of funny here, though, is that it says that Hermione told Harry that it would do him good to get away from the castle for a bit, and Harry didn't need much persuasion. And then Harry's sort of like, well, what about Ron, though? Don't you want to go with him? And it's kind of like, y'all, for real. Doesn't it seem strange that she's spending all of her time with Harry and not Ron?
Yeah.
That's kind of odd. And then Hermione's sort of like, well, I thought maybe we could meet up with him in the Three Broomsticks. And then all of a sudden Harry's like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'll come. I'm not meeting Ron, and I'm wearing my invisibility cloak.
Yep.
And it's like, 2 seconds ago, you didn't need much persuasion, and now you have overcorrected. Yes.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Hermione's like, all right then, but I hate talking to you in that cloak. I never know if I'm looking at you or not. And I'm like, to my recollection, you guys have never done this before.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know what you're talking about. But then it says, once he puts it on, it says, Harry felt wonderfully free under the cloak. And I'm like, I'm kind of surprised he doesn't just start doing this all the time.
That's true.
You know?
He's just like walking around. I mean, if it was me and I had an invisibility cloak at school and everybody was making pins that said like Ben stinks.
Yeah.
I would probably put it on and then just like walk through them.
I know. It's like Harry's always complaining that people are like noticing him in the hall like he doesn't have a solution to it.
Yes. Yes. The other ironic thing about this is that Harry feels so free being invisible, and ironically, Ron's upset because he feels invisible.
Right.
Yes.
Oh. Poor
if
Ron.
only they could just see
I
life
know.
from each other's perspectives.
If only. In the meantime, though, Hermione is saying, people keep looking at me now. To which I was like, just ignore them. Come on, Hermione.
Right, it says it right here.
Yeah,
ignore it. Just ignore it, Harry.
I know. She doesn't mind people like... She doesn't mind people like quoting the article, but like the idea of her going to the village by herself, she's like, "This is embarrassing.
This is the line.
This is
the
where
line.
I draw the line, Harry."
Yeah.
I do love how that, despite that, they go to Honeydukes and they exit. They're eating large cream-filled chocolates. I never noticed that line, but they just like I imagine this just looks like Hermione's exiting the candy store, just like. Just by herself.
How large are these things?
I'm thinking it says large cream-filled chocolates. Yeah, like an apple at least.
Like an apple-sized chocolate.
Yes.
Hermione says, they think I'm talking to myself. And Harry's like, don't move your lips so much then.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, just learn how to be a ventriloquist, Hermione.
Just don't do it. Yeah.
Jeez.
Just ignore them, Hermione. And then she's like, yeah, take your cloak off. No one's going to bother you. And then immediately Rita Skeeter and her photographer friend, who just for reference, her photographer friend's name is Bozo. I don't know why. So Rita Skeeter and Bozo walk by.
Yeah. That's a real sentence.
I know. I think it's when they walk right past Hermione and don't look at her, like as if they didn't just write an article about her. Because I don't think Rita Skeeter even knows who Hermione is.
No,
you know?
definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. She only hearsay from Colin, who all of a sudden it occurs to me that Colin must think that she's very pretty.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yes, they're like, yes, Rita Skeeter's like, yeah, because that means he agreed to do the interview with Rita.
Right.
Definitely. Probably got talking to Bozo about cameras.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. Colin's like, I love this.
I love this. He's, yeah.
Oh man, what would our ship name for Colin and Hermione be?
Oh man.
Carmine.
Carmine.
Colin. Granger.
Greavy. Yeah, there we go.
We got there.
Maybe gravy.
Gravy. That's even
That's
better.
it. It's gravy.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Get writing, people.
Tag us in your fanfic. All right.
But actually, please don't.
Yeah. So we've basically Hermione or Harry is like, I bet she's here for the first task. And then he said, as he said it, his stomach flooded with a wave of molten panic. He hadn't mentioned this. He and Hermione hadn't discussed what was coming in the first task much. And I'm like, how?
Yeah. How?
What else are you talking about? Your feelings?
I know. For each other?
For each other?
Yeah.
It feels so unlike Hermione
I know,
for this to not be the primary subject.
I know. They hadn't discussed what was coming the first task. Yeah, you've done basically no prep work at all, as far as I can tell.
Because I mean, even think forward once we get to the second task and he's got the egg and Ron is back on their side. The main thing Hermione's always like, Harry, have you figured out that egg yet?
Yeah,
it's
I
like
know,
we can't talk about what
lot.
we used to talk about. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I know exactly. Now that Ron's back.
Now
in
that
the
Ron's
picture.
back, we don't want to make him mad.
But nonetheless, they find a table. Hermione goes to the bar, joins a moment later, slips him the butterbeer under the cloak. Very sly.
Yeah. How is this? They went and got candy and a drink together.
Yeah. This is a date, man.
Right.
This is a date.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
And Hermione, she's just like, you know what I think it is? I think she's having a great time on this date. And she's just like, but she's not able to reap the benefit of anyone knowing she's on a date.
Yeah.
She's just like, I look like such an idiot sitting here on my own.
She's like, I hate it when you're under the cloak. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah. Lucky I brought something to do. I'm going to work on my club.
My club, yep.
Yeah.
As she does this year and next.
Yeah.
We also learn that Hogsmeade is the only all-wizard village in Britain. Just a little piece of trivia there. That one's easy enough. We can definitely get that one right in the future.
Yep.
It is a haven for, and I mean, this is odd. Potentially problematic. A haven for creatures like hags. And I was like, what are hags anyway? Because normally it's a word I wouldn't typically throw around that much. But I was reading up on them.
This old DA hags.
They have a taste for human flesh.
They do.
It is a known characteristic of a hag.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're just around.
They're just like around.
Like Lupin won't let himself go out in public or have a job or get married or do any of those things. And these people are like at the pub.
At the pub. I think it's even specifically like children, right?
It is
flesh.
children. It's yes.
Yeah, it's children's flesh.
Yeah.
That's what they're, yeah. Like those creatures are allowed at the village next to the school.
Maybe this is why you can't go to Hogsmeade until you're 13.
Yeah. You might be right.
Right?
You might be right. Yeah. Hags not great. Hags are apparently like I guess they are humanoid. They have 4 toes, and they're kind of like what muggles think witches are. Like they have lots of warts and stuff. It's like what muggles read about in fairy tales.
Yeah, okay.
Is actually hags, not real witches.
Right.
Yes.
Then Harry has a real jealousy moment because he spots Ron across the room sitting with Fred, George, and Lee Jordan. And basically the way that Fred and George have treated Ron for like the past several chapters, I'm surprised that they're like, Ron, what are you doing, man?
What are you doing,
like,
man?
It feels like they would just be like, go hang out with Harry.
Yeah,
we don't
I can't
want you
believe they're
around
not
us.
giving him a hard time about it.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Fred-
they're rooting for Harry. They're excited about it.
Fred and George love Harry.
They love Harry. They
Yeah.
give him the map.
They give him the map.
They give him the map.
Yeah, that's probably a sore spot for Ron too, though.
Well, good thing you wanted to hang out with them.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, Hermione pulls out her short list of SPEW members, a very short list, which I'm like, what is it, like 4 people, right? Just Neville.
Yeah,
so
she convinces
her,
Neville
Harry, Ron, and Neville.
Right.
And Colin, probably. Trying to make gravy happen, you know? Yeah.
Colin was like, I'm in.
I'll join. Should I be the photographer? Probably.
Oh, man. It is kind of funny, though, because Hermione is like, I should maybe try and get some of the villagers involved in Spew. And I bet the hags would be all about it. They'd be like, yeah,
Yeah, I know, right?
Signing up in drones. And Harry just starts being a straight shooter. And he's like, Hermione, when are you going to give up on the Spew stuff? It's like,
he's like, I feel like we've reached the point in our relationship where I can be honest with you. Just coming right out with it.
This is a sign of our growth.
This is our
together.
growth.
Yes.
Exactly.
We get a brief reference to I wonder how you get into the school kitchens. Wonder if that's going to come up anytime in the future.
Mm-hmm. Definitely just set up for Dobby and Winky here.
Yep.
Yep.
We see that across the way, Ernie McMillan and Hannah Abbott are swapping chocolate frog cards. Just, standard
As you
stuff.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regular.
Also a piece of trivia there.
Yeah.
Who's swapping chocolate frog cards
Ernie
at
McMillan
the
and
3
Hannah
broomsticks?
Yeah. I'd love to know what that conversation was like, too. They're like, hey, do you want to go down to the 3 broomsticks and swap chocolate frog cards?
It's like, we could do it in the common room.
Yeah.
However,
I'd like to involve alcohol.
yes.
Yes.
Right. Maybe they're on a date.
Maybe they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, too bad for Ernie. Neville's going to swoop in there.
He is.
He is
Yeah.
at some point after the war.
Right.
They're also sporting support Cedric Diggory badges on their cloaks, which also means they're sporting Potter Stinks badges on their cloaks.
Not cool, guys.
Not cool, guys.
But then right over by the door, he sees Cho and
Yeah.
a large group of her Ravenclaw friends, and she wasn't wearing a Cedric badge. Guys, this is kind of interesting.
Wow.
Because it's like, we just made a video recently that was effectively like, what if Harry had just asked Cho first?
Yeah.
And it changes a whole bunch of
A
things.
lot.
But back in the weighing of the wands, Fleur Delacour is totally chatting Cedric up.
Yeah.
And Cedric is going to pass over Fleur for Cho.
Yeah.
Who isn't even supporting Cedric
Right.
at the moment.
Yes.
Would rather go with Harry.
Yes.
If so facto, Harry could have asked Fleur.
Could he? Yeah. Right.
I'm using math triangulation.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know if I paid the math budget.
Do you think Flora would have said yes to Harry?
No. Well, I mean.
Flower pot?
Flower pot.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's at least one version of the story where we had this happen.
We definitely made that happen
Yeah.
once. Yes.
Yeah.
Flower pot is great.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, I think Cho is totally team Cherry.
Oh, for sure at this moment.
At
yeah.
this moment, yeah.
Yeah, she's looking over like, oh man, he's on like. Well, no, she's probably looking over. The thing is, Harry's looking over at Cho right now, and it's like she's not wearing a badge. That's awesome, and she's looking over at Hermione and being like, wow, she's not spending time with Harry. This is great.
This is great news.
Oh, look at Granger over there by herself in the pub.
talking to herself.
Talking to herself, working on her spew badges. I'm a shoe-in.
I'm not even wearing a badge.
I'm not even wearing a badge.
All right, let's see here. Then we get like a little brief aside where Harry's just sort of imagining like, what if I wasn't in the tournament and I just got to have like a regular life. And he's just sort of imagining how him, Ron, and Hermione would be speculating on what deadly dangerous tasks the school champions would be facing. And it's like, this is one of those things where it's like, if only Harry's life could just be this simple.
If only.
But it just can't.
Fortunately for him, Dumbledore is at least trying. It's funny because Dumbledore keeps not telling him things so he can give Harry that exact version of a life.
Right.
And it keeps not working.
Yeah. It's like Dumbledore. You just got to give up, man. This kid's life is just going to be a train wreck until it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 more books. It's a long time. In the meantime, he continues to see the other champions around. Fleur Delacour, always looking haughty and unruffled. Krum sat in the library, poring over books. But all Harry has to look forward to is seeing Sirius in the fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
But before we can get to that particular stage of the chapter, we see Hagrid from across the way, also at the Three Broomsticks.
Yep.
And this is kind of like one of those big moments, at least as far as something that has preoccupied us as people who have studied the story forever and ever and ever. Because we see that Moody is with Hagrid, and of course that he's drinking from his hip flask, which offends Madame Rosmerta, who's kind of like, what about my mulled mead? It's totally delicious and definitely never kills anybody. At least not for 2 more years. Then it's only almost.
Only almost.
Yeah. But ironically, though, it does say that it was so easy for dark wizards to poison an unattended cup.
which is exactly what happens to the mulled mead.
Which does happen with the mulled mead.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis Ron. Let's see here. And
also ironic that he is the dark wizard who is not trying to avoid poison, but is just trying to not drink anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because he's got to keep up with that.
Because he's got to keep up with that. This is the big hint for the reader later on that he's just drinking polyjuice the whole time.
Calorically, how do you think polyjuice stacks up? Because he's consuming like
a lot.
Yeah. And it seems thick.
It does.
And I have to guess that Moody's is thick. Lots
of protein.
Yeah.
Just a nonstop protein shake.
Do you think maybe he just like adds a scoop of whey powder, just like
probably
for the gains?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It might.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's got some creatine. Yeah. Oh man.
Some creatine.
He's getting swole. He's back in action.
Yeah. Maybe that should be our newest like pin design is like super ripped Moody.
Yeah. Ripped Moody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is like a big moment because Moody's whipping around the room with his magical eye and he notices Harry, and then he walks over, or he talks to Hagrid. Basically, he's like, "Hey, go over there, tell Harry to meet you and show him the dragons. I'm definitely not cheating."
Right.
Yes, I'm the good guy. I want to help him out. Wink.
Right.
He can see through that wink though. But then he walks over to Harry and says, "Nice cloak, Potter," because he can see through the invisibility cloak with his magical eye. And this is like, I know, it's such a problematic line because it's a Deathly Hallow. And you're like, how can his eye see through a Deathly Hallow? Yeah, well, yeah, because Hallows weren't created yet. Maybe.
But like, it seems like Harry's cloak is still already special.
Yes.
It's got something to it.
Yeah.
Some pizzazz. So this is one where I think we've made 3 videos about Mad Eye Moody's eye and where it came from. Because it really is, it's such a big problem. It's sort of like what can possibly be happening here? And we've kind of gone round and round and round on what we think is happening, like whether or not Dumbledore created the eye itself, if it's like the other half of Grindelwald's blue eye that we see in Fantastic Beasts, if it like was Death's own eyes, and
right?
Like because we also think that like Death could have gone on to be like Dementors, and Dementors don't have eyes,
right?
And
yeah, so if Death gave away his eyes, and then he's like the spawn point for the rest of the Dementors, then that's why they don't have eyes.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been in possession of the cloak at the time he made it.
That's true.
Well, that's true. Well,
maybe that's how he tested how good it was.
I think he makes the eye before he's examining the cloak, based on when the trials are. Well, maybe not. I don't know. That's hard to know.
No, because he definitely has James's cloak before James dies.
Yes. Yeah. But then the trials happen. You're right. No, he has it. You're right. That's interesting. That could be a part of it.
Right.
But then Dumbledore's also if he's making the eye, he's making it with the Elder Wand.
Right.
So then it's like that's a Deathly Hallow. So maybe that's why the eye can be seeing through another Deathly Hallow.
Exactly.
Right.
And at this particular point in time, we know that Moody has both eyes all the way up through most of the trials, and then is not present for the trial of everybody who tortured Frank and Alice Longbottom.
Right.
And so it's sort of like, is it possible that Moody was able to bring them into justice, but in the process of doing so, lost his eye, using the Elder Wand, created this particular eye, which is capable of seeing through Deathly Hallows because it was made by a Deathly Hallow.
Yeah.
We all need to work really hard on this particular problem because we don't like situations where things don't make sense. There's no
Yes.
such thing as plot holes, just opportunities.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It is. And we've circled it around it a lot of times, and it just keeps. Now we're doing this book, and it keeps coming up over and over, and it's like it's got to be there. It's
Yep.
got to be there.
He does, and so basically Harry is like, can you? Yeah, it can see through invisibility cloaks.
Good save, Harry.
And it's come in useful at times, I can tell you. And what I do think is kind of interesting about that line, it's just really being nitpicky, but the first Wizarding War is over, and it's been just basically peacetime for like 13 years.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, Moody, what have you been up to with this thing, man?
I know, right?
Who you been fighting?
Who you been doing? You haven't actually had to use it when you were in Auror,
Right.
pretty much at all.
And now,
What? Oh, definitely. This is Barty. So who has Barty spotted under the invisibility cloak so far at this point, though?
oh,
You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably true too, because, like, yeah, Moody doesn't. He has both normal eyes in the trials leading up to when Bellatrix and Barty Crouch Jr. and company are brought in. At which point, Moody is not at that trial at all.
Right.
And it's sort of like the war is over at that point, and so it's like, is he not there because when he brought them in, they like got his eye and he's like off recovering?
That's yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
the most sense.
So that means that like Barty Crouch Jr. is the reason he has the eye, and then he steals it.
And then he steals it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's reaping the benefits.
That's really not how you want that to go.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't like it. He's a really bad guy. I can't believe he doesn't survive past this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So
To like continue to be a problem.
spoilers.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Spoilers.
Our bad. So anyway, then Hagrid is sort of like, Harry, meet me tonight at midnight at my cabin. Wear that cloak.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Harry is so popular between the hours of midnight and 1 a.m.
Yeah. On this day specifically.
Yes.
I know. And then, yeah, Hermione doesn't think this is a very good idea. What if he's going to make you late for Sirius? Which, pretty solid point, if you ask me. Harry's like, nah, probably better to just be quick. And I'm like, just be quick? Hagrid's quite a walk away. You don't even know what he's going to do.
It's quite a walk away, and then eventually what they're going to end up hearing is a roar that is like deafening.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, how far are they?
I know.
Like, you got to walk awful far to not hear these dragons.
I know. I feel like maybe people did hear them. But I don't know. He says he's so curious to know what this is. I feel like Hagrid could be a little more upfront. He's like, got something to show you about the first task.
Yeah.
Because for once, Hagrid's actually whispering at like a really good volume. Even Hermione doesn't hear him say this.
True.
Yeah.
Yep. But either which way, so Harry does make his way back to the Gryffindor common room where he sees that quite a few people are there. The Creevy brothers have managed to get a hold of a stack of support Cedric Diggory badges, and we're trying to bewitch them to say support Harry Potter instead. So far, all they had managed to do was get the badges stuck on Potter stinks. This is another small testament to, I think, how good Malfoy might be at magic.
Right.
Because if Malfoy made these, it's like they're kind of tamper-proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like they can't figure it out. I mean, granted, it's a first year and a third year.
Right.
And it's Colin.
Yeah, true. Well, Draco's only a fourth year. It's like one more year on him.
Yeah, yeah. I do love the thought though of like Draco, you know, like sitting in his room like crisscross applesauce on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, like with like one of those pin press machines, and he's like, people are gonna love these.
Yeah, right.
Kid loves arts and crafts.
He sure does. No doubt. I also love this though. Another just a little Harry Hermione planning sesh. because Harry's going down to meet Hagrid. Remember, at midnight.
At midnight.
And it says, then Hermione opened the fat lady for him from the outside as they had planned. Meaning Hermione is definitely out of bed after hours to do this, right?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work, you know? She's got to break rules to help Harry go do whatever Hagrid wants. But she doesn't even know. She's just trusting him.
Right.
Yep. And then this I think is funny too. Harry is walking down to Hagrid and says Harry could hear Madame Maxime talking inside as he knocked on Hagrid's front door. To which I'm like, okay, the carriage is not exactly right next door. Who is she talking to so loudly at 11:59 p.m.? You know what I mean? Like the other Beauxbaton students got to be like, go to sleep.
They can hear you in the castle
They can
right
hear
now.
You're being so loud.
She's not subtle, I guess.
I guess not. But so he shows up. Hagrid says, got something to show you. He's wearing an oversized artichoke on his front, or a flower that resembles an oversized artichoke.
Yes, which trivia. That's a great one. It's
That's
like, what does his flower resemble? To which I know I will look at the camera and be like, a flower?
A flower? Yeah. Your flower looks like a flower.
Yeah.
I love how it says he tried to comb his hair, but the comb breaks, and now he just has the comb's broken teeth in it. And I'm like, oh no, he can't even comb it out because the comb's
broken.
Oh no. He's just stuck with a bunch of plastic bits in his hair.
I guess.
You
know, I literally am picturing, do you remember the yellow comb that me and you had growing up? It was like a yellow comb that was so 90s coded. Yeah.
I don't know if I do.
You don't remember the comb?
No.
We just had the one.
Okay.
Well, anyway, that's what I picture him using.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That comb.
The
one they all know about.
The one they all know about. You guys know that yellow comb.
That yellow
90s.
comb. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to make yellow comb merch, guys.
Yes, come on. Yeah. There you
people
go.
are going to be like, what are you wearing? It's like, it's a good joke. Trust me.
It's a good joke. Yeah. When you say yellow comb work, you don't even mean yellow combs.
What do you mean?
Like we could just sell yellow combs.
Oh.
And you want to sell pictures of a yellow comb.
I want to sell pictures of a yellow comb. And those pictures can be kind of broken.
Yeah. Okay. Glad we got there.
I know.
Okay. Good.
I can't believe you don't remember the yellow comb.
I can't believe it either.
Man.
This does sound like a pop episode. We should circle back to that on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. As ever, he says, Harry is trying to explain, like, I can't stay long. I got to be up at the castle by 1 o'clock. Believe it or not, I have another appointment. Hagrid not listening, as nobody seems to be in this book. He just walks over to Madame Maxine's, who she's wearing a silk shawl wrapped around her massive shoulders. Okay, so at this point, clearly in Hagrid's mind, this is like a date. And do you think she is like also thinking of it as a date, or is she just straight up using him at this point?
I think using him.
him.
I would have loved to have made the argument that this chapter was full of dates. But I think that it needs to be a better example.
Yeah.
Hagrid certainly thinks it's a date.
Hagrid certainly thinks that it. And to be fair, it eventually he does start wearing off on her.
Yeah. They get there.
She starts winning him over. I cannot not skip. I can't. This is fantastic. He knocks on the door and he's trying to say bonsoir, good evening. But what he actually says is bong sewer. Bong sewer.
Bong sewer.
Oh, man.
He's trying so hard.
Yeah, he's trying so hard. I love it.
But he does offer her his arm, and it doesn't say that she takes it, but they set off around the edge of the paddock. So
okay. Just move past
please
that.
take my arm.
Bong sewer. Am I doing it right?
We're starting to sound a little bit like Pete Malfoy.
If you guys are patrons, you are going to love our Pete Malfoy shirt coming soon.
It is a good one.
On SCB.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, anyway, let's see here. Hagrid, what had Hagrid wanted to show Madame Maxine? And we get a line that apparently Madame Maxine says playfully, "Where is it you are taking me, Hagrid?" Sometimes I can't do it. Anyway, try it again.
Try it again.
There you go. Where is it you are taking me, Hagrid?
Oh. Nailed it.
You guys were legally obligated to cheer for that.
Yes.
I am blushing right now, just so you know. Okay.
So they start walking very far away towards the dragons. I can't believe Harry makes it back up to the castle on time.
No, I know, yeah, because then came a deafening, ear-splitting roar.
Right.
Like, it's required that they're further away.
They're further away that no one in the castle apparently hears this.
Yes, for a split second, he thought he was seeing bonfires and men darting around them, and then his mouth fell open. Dragons.
The dragons have arrived.
Gasp.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 fully grown, enormous, vicious-looking dragons were rearing onto their hind legs inside an enclosure fenced with thick planks of wood, roaring and snorting. An enclosure. Not each individual ones.
Singular.
Wooden.
Right.
One single wooden enclosure.
With 4 nesting mothers.
Yes.
Inside of it. It's like, this is a recipe for disaster. It's a bag of snakes.
Yeah, it is a bag of snakes. And Charlie Weasley is going to say, they should be okay now. We put them out with a sleeping draft on the way here. Thought it might be better for them to wake up in the dark and the quiet. But like you saw, they weren't happy. Not happy at all. And I'm like, every time I hear about you, Charlie, it says you're studying dragons. Like, what are you studying about them? Because I'm not hearing that you're making much progress.
Yeah, like he got the call and they're like, can you transport these safely? And he's like, how hard could it be?
How hard could it be? I've been around them.
Yeah. We learned about the Hungarian Horntail, the common Welsh Green, the Swedish Short Snout, and the Chinese Fireball. But it does seem like the Hungarian Horntail is absolutely the worst. Charlie says, I don't envy the one who gets the Horntail. Vicious thing. Its back end as dangerous as its front. Look. Ooh. Foreshadowing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, it should, at this point in time, it should just literally say, well, I'm just going to spoil this for you. Harry's going to get this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like that, for sure. Then Charlie also brings up and says, I'm not sure you're supposed to bring her, Hagrid. The Chamberlains aren't supposed to know what's coming. She's bound to tell her students, isn't she? He's like, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yes.
But then Charlie can see what he's up to and says, really romantic date, Hagrid. Very good. Yeah, I'll say.
So he's calling it a date.
He's calling it a date, yeah.
So if we're calling this a date, do we definitely call one person invisible, one person not, talking to each other while filling out a list of 4 names a date?
Yeah. I mean, Ben, they got drinks. They bought chocolates.
Right.
You know?
It's a date.
It's a date. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. There we go. Then Charlie is also sort of like, I've got the eggs counted, Hagrid. How's Harry? And it's almost surprising that he's not just like, oh, just ask him yourself. Whoosh.
Yeah. I know. Like, you've already spilled the beans with Maxine being there. I don't know why you care. Like I don't need you to know that Harry's cheating. I don't really care if you know that Flora's cheating.
Right.
Yeah.
If anything, it almost seems to be like, so you're showing her and not Harry?
I know, yeah. Like, you mind if I'm probably going to tell him. I'm going to tell him.
I'm going to call him.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I shouldn't have told you that. I should not have told you that. Let's see here. Okay.
So then he gives the impression of his mom saying he's already having kittens about him. He says, how could they let him into that tournament? He's much too young. I thought they were all safe. I thought there was going to be an age limit. They're just like, I mean, there was an age limit, you know?
There was an age limit.
There was an age limit, yeah.
It just simply didn't work. But I think Rita Skeeter must have left that detail out of the article.
That's true.
Although it's surprising that she believes Rita Skeeter this time, because earlier in the book, when she was talking about Arthur because of what happened during the Quidditch World Cup, she is sort of like downplaying Rita Skeeter, being like the worst and non-trustworthy. But I guess maybe this is like one of those things where it's like playing into how Molly already feels about Harry.
Yeah.
Which is to say, like, she's concerned for him. And so then it's reassuring her belief that she should be concerned for him. And I do like how much Molly cares for Harry.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
He still cries about his parents. Oh, bless him. I never knew. And it's like, yeah, earlier you didn't like Rita Skeeter, but now you're like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I should totally believe everything she
terrible.
says.
Yes. But so then Harry is just like, he cannot figure out what on earth he's going to do. Like, how is he going to get past them? Of course, he's going to use the summoning charm. But he decides to leave Hagrid to his date, head back to the castle, and just run smack dab into Karkaroff, who's also just cheating.
Yes.
And Harry figures out, it's like, he probably saw Hagrid and Madame Maxime walking across the lawn, which is almost definitely what happened.
Almost definitely.
Yes.
Yes. Because otherwise it's like, what are the odds that everyone was out in the middle of the night at this hour doing the exact same thing?
Doing the exact same thing. I know.
Yeah.
Although to that end, it means that Karkaroff also awake at midnight, just like staring out. For,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
just like, everyone's up.
Everyone's up.
Maybe he could hear her talking too.
That's it. Yeah, he's staring at the carriage being like, shut up.
I'm trying to sleep. Victor needs his beauty rest.
Yes. This is canon.
This
now.
is canon.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is what happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. Also, who's not here though, Ben? Dumbledore. Dumbledore's not here.
I know. He's not getting in on this cheating action.
Yeah. Dumbledore is satisfied to just let Cedric and Harry go in blind.
Which is to say die.
Which is to say die. For like somebody's like, as I can see Cedric, he signed up for this. But Harry didn't even sign up for this. I feel like Dumbledore himself should be like, Harry.
It's a dragon.
It's dragons. Conjunctivitis.
That's all
Just
you
do
need to
it.
know.
That's all you need to do.
It will be great.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So we make it back to the Gryffindor common room. We now see that the Creevy brothers have made no progress on the badges, and they now read Potter really stinks.
I know.
It's like Malfoy was down there. He's like, I've got plans for this. If anybody
got
tries to
plans.
crack my code,
Yeah. I'm going to make them worse.
I'm gonna make it worse. I'm gonna make it worse.
Yep.
But he looks up and sees Sirius's head floating in the fire. Well, it does say sitting in the fire. I'm putting words in the book's mouth, but I picture it as his head floating.
Yeah, I kind of picture it that way.
Not like in the coals being like,
Definitely not the way it's shown in the movie where he
Yeah.
just like in the movie.
in the movies. Yeah.
Yeah. What?
No, the wrongest take was how they did it in the fifth movie.
Okay, but they're both the wrongest thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have an argument.
You've been arguing about how the flue powder head magic works. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It should be like his actual human head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, the other thing is that Molly is able to feed Amos toast.
Yeah.
And so if his head was in the coals and Sirius opened his mouth a little bit, wouldn't you think all the coals might just fall in?
Like burn. Yeah.
And so Sirius is like, there's a simple spell. Sorry, I just swallowed fire.
Yeah. No, I think he's just sort of sitting in the coals, his actual head.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. A way he doesn't think to get into the Gryffindor common room last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Could have been like, Harry, it's me. I'm your godfather. I'm not dangerous.
I'm not dangerous.
Instead, I'll slash the portrait of the fat lady.
I know. do you know of a rat up here?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
I
My
do.
best friend.
Yeah. Huh. Could you fetch him for me?
Conversations would solve so much of Harry Potter.
They would. Yeah, that would fix a lot of stuff.
Right. Anyway, so we see that Sirius is looking a fair bit better now that he has been out of Azkaban for a fair period of time. His hair was short and clean now, and he looked younger, much more like the only photograph Harry had of him, which had been taken at the Potter's wedding. Sirius is immediately like, don't worry about me. And Harry's about to be like, I'm fine. But before he could do that, he's like, I'm not fine.
I'm not fine.
I'm not fine.
I know. I love this because for 10 minutes he has the experience of having a parent, and he can just tell him every single thing. And so which is basically what he does. Talks about the Rita Skeeter article, the Daily Prophet, Ron not believing him, which is the only thing Sirius doesn't address.
Which is surprising
Yeah.
because Sirius is so big on friendship. He'd be like, Ron's not being nice to you.
Yeah. Bring him
kind-
down. Get him down.
what
Get
kind
him
of-
down here.
I need to speak with this boy.
I need to get
Yeah.
summon him.
And Harry's like, it's Dragon Sirius, and I'm a goner.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of like, not to worry, we'll talk about that, and I will definitely finish my sentence. That will solve all of your problems.
I know.
Oh no, I didn't.
I know. He's like, dragons we can deal with. We'll get to that in a minute. If I was here, I'd be like, yeah, let's start there.
Let's start
go ahead
there.
and start
Let's-
there.
let's start
You know
there.
what? Whatever else, let's start with the dragons. Let's go there first. Yeah.
Right, but instead he's like, yeah, Karkaroff. Karkaroff was a Death Eater. He was caught. He was in Azkaban with me. I bet everything. That's why Dumbledore wanted an Auror at Hogwarts this year to keep an eye on him. Moody caught Karkaroff, so now you kind of get a bit of their backstory.
Their backstory, yeah. Why
did they-
Karkaroff's not happy to see Moody.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then we get kind of a setup for what's going to happen in the Pensive later. Why did they release him? And basically, it's that he's not very popular in Azkaban. He gave a lot of names out, and they made a deal with the Ministry in order to get out. There's also a little bit of suspicion thrown at Krum, and this is one of the instances where Sirius just doesn't read the tea leaves properly. He's like, watch out for the Durmstrang champion as well. Which, I guess to be fair, he will use the Cruciatus Curse in the maze on other champions, but
Yeah.
that's not because of Krum.
Right.
Krum is only he's like, I just want to read books and ask out Hermione.
Right. That's pretty much all he does this year otherwise.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's his day. He's fine.
Yeah. He's just regular guy.
He gets a bad rap.
Yep.
let's see here. But then Harry is sort of like, he's like, if you're saying that Karkaroff put my name in the goblet, like he's a really good actor because he seemed mad.
Yeah. But then Sirius makes a pretty good counter argument. He says, well, we know he's a good actor because he convinced the Ministry of Magic to set him free, didn't he? And it's like, that is a good point. Yeah, for the case you're particularly making.
Right. So do you think that you as a first-time reader, does this, like if you're starting to look at all the pieces and you're really studying it, like can you start to rule out Karkaroff as the one who's the problem?
No.
Okay.
I don't think you could rule him out.
No.
I think this is making a case for him.
But like why would he put his name in and then be so upset about it?
To cover up the fact that he did it.
I was 12, I couldn't think that far.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, right, yeah. I'm just like, it's probably if Sirius said it, it's probably Karkaroff. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah. Then we find out that we talk about Sirius saying that Moody was attacked the night before he started at Hogwarts. That Rita Skeeter says it's a false alarm. But I don't think so somehow. I think someone tried to stop him from getting to Hogwarts. I think someone knew their job would be a lot more difficult with him around. And no one's going to go look into it too closely. Mad Eye's heard intruders a bit too often, but that doesn't mean he can't still spot the real thing. Moody was the best Auror the Ministry ever had.
This is a really well done paragraph because it like really sets you up as like Moody is the guy who's going to catch him. He's super good. It's definitely not Moody at all.
Yes.
And because like he's right. He's like, oh, they like he knows that it wasn't a false alarm. Like he's so close to being right. So
Yes.
like that part's there. He's just wrong about the reason. It's just like, he's so close. He's so close. And then he gets down to the bottom here and he starts talking about Bertha Jorkins. She disappeared in Albania, and that's definitely where Voldemort was rumored to be last. And she would have known the Triwizard Tournament was coming up, wouldn't she? And he's like, man, you are so close. Yes, that is exactly what happened.
He is putting the pieces together so well. And I
Yes.
mean, it goes back to the letter that he wrote Harry earlier in the book where he's like, Dumbledore's reading the signs. And it's like, these are those signs.
These are those signs. But then Harry has his own good point. He says, it's not very likely she'd walk straight into Voldemort, is it? And it's like, well, that's a great point. And yet,
pretty
much what happens. Yeah.
She was an idiot.
Very nosy, but no brains. None at all. It's not a good combination, Harry. I'd say she'd have been very easy to lure into a trap, which is indeed exactly what happened. Sirius is getting so close.
He is really nailing it here. And
Yeah.
it is funny because it's Peter who lures her into a trap. And it's sort of like the only way that Peter was successful is that it was easy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I love too that it's like I can't believe he doesn't think Peter's involved. Like all last year, he's just like, it was Peter, it was Peter, it was Peter, it was Peter, and he's like, what happened to Bertha Jorkins? I don't know.
What was the prophecy?
Who was-
Reunite with his master, and who got
I guess
away
he
on
didn't
this
know
thing?
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe he's reading certain things really well and then missing some other more
Missing
obvious
some,
things.
yeah. He's kind of given up on Peter. You know, why does it continue to hunt him? You know,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe he should have gone to Albania.
maybe he should go to Albania. Yeah, where
Jeez.
do I think Peter's gonna go?
Right.
Yeah, exactly there.
Anyway, then he tries to give a little bit of advice about the dragons, and he's just like, don't even try stunning. You need about a half dozen wizards at a time. And Harry's like, yeah, I know. I just saw that.
I just saw it, yeah.
But you could do it alone. There is a way, a simple spell. All you need is just what?
Just what?
Come on. It's so close.
It's
right
so
there.
close, and then he gets. Yeah,
And
he
it's
gets
of
cut
course
off.
Ron coming down the staircase. So it's like under normal circumstances, Ron probably just would have been there with him.
I know.
On lookout.
I
And
know.
instead it's sort of like, nope. This ruins it. And now we don't know. Now we don't know how to do it.
Yeah. So what he doesn't tell him is that it's the conjunctivitis curse, which is what Krum uses on his dragon.
Yes, which is basically attacking the eyes.
The eyes. Yes.
Yep.
The weak point.
Right, which also, it's not even a lot to say. Like, he should have been like, dragon, conjunctivitis curse. Now let's talk about everything else.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
exactly.
yeah, it would have been so easy.
So easy. One word.
Yeah.
Oh, dragon's easy one, Harry. Just hit him in the eyes. Next.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But so then Ron comes down, and of course, Harry is not keen to tell him that he's been talking to Sirius. And then Ron's like, should have realized that you didn't want to be disturbed. I'll let you get on with practicing for your next interview in peace. And then Harry seizes one of the Potter really stinks badges off the table and chucks it as hard as he could across the room. And it hits Ron on the forehead and bounces off. And I'm like,
know.
wow.
What a shot.
Like, in that moment, I feel like if I was Ron, I would have been like, dude, that was good.
That was
like,
good.
You got me. You
Yeah.
got me.
I know. I love. What? Yeah.
Harry could be a chaser. That's
Harry
right.
could be a chaser. You'd think Ron would have caught it. I love too that like Sirius is about to tell him go for the eyes, and in getting interrupted, he throws a pin and almost hits Ron in the eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, like 1 second later.
That would have been actually amazing if that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah, just hit him right in the eye.
I love too that when he comes down though, that the Harry is like, "What are you doing down here?" And Ron is almost like admits to caring about him, saying, "I just wondered where you, nothing. I don't care. Whatever." But like clearly, what's happened is Ron is woken up and he's like, "Oh my God, Harry's not here."
Finish your sentences, people.
Come on, I know. Everyone could just finish their sentences.
We're so close. We're
Yep.
so close.
I know, but in the meantime, it's just one of the. Him hitting him with the badge though is so sad though. He says, "You might even have a scar now if you're lucky. That's what you want, isn't it?" And it's just like you can just tell Ron is just like, "Oh, it's so." I mean, I hate this too because then like. Harry heads back up to the dormitory and having Horn upstairs. He lays awake in bed fuming for a long time. But Ron doesn't. He doesn't hear Ron come up, which means I honestly bet Ron is down there crying.
I agree. It is so devastating, especially like with their friendship and like the line that even says like Ron just stood there in his two small pajamas. It's just like you're just like, oh my God, like like Ron in this moment is just like it's a low.
I know it's a low.
It's a low. Yeah.
Fortunately, he's like 2 days away from like figuring all that out.
I know.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back, it's so glorious.
It is so glorious.
It's like I think that's why it happens this way. It's like we need to have a little dip so that when it comes back, we feel even better about it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I guess
because
so.
we need Ron and Harry to be friends.
Of course.
Because friendship is the key to everything and the end of this chapter.
The end of this chapter. We did it.
Woo! So, Jay, this is normally the moment in the podcast where I'd be like, do you have a review for us? But because we have a live audience with us here tonight, maybe you guys can let us know, how did we do?
Oh, man. Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you, guys. Oh, man. I think...
What was that?
You said...
Encore.
And now on to the first task.
Yeah.
Right? So
The
Harry
staff
got
of the
up
venue
on
was
Sunday
like,
morning.
no.
They're like, wait, what are you doing? Hold on, I can give you at least this. Harry got up on Sunday morning and dressed so inattentively that it was a while before he realized he was trying to pull his hat onto his foot instead of his sock. And then the dragons arrived. Boom. Oh, man. I think that's a 5-star review.
I think that's a 5-star
so.
review.
Yeah.
Do you want to close us out for business reasons?
I can close us out. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. Make sure you join us next week for Chapter 20, the first task here on Through the Griffin Door. Boom.
Today's episode was edited by Ethan Edghill. Vaishon Brandon does our art. Catherine Stein is our production manager, and the show is hosted by me and Jonathan Carlin.